What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here. Primer Mage delivering you Week 11's Team Builder for the NPBF. We are in the midst of our divisional rematches. Last week, we were able to pick up a win over Jesse and the J-Dog Jolteons to avenge the loss we had to his predecessor, Chris and the Naughty India Legos, at the beginning of the season. So, this week, we have a rematch against Liam and the Auckland Ambipoms. And always nervous about these rematches because you never know what it's going to be. But my team is entirely different, so it could very well be different kind of matchup. So his team consists of the Dragapult, Darmanitan, Gardevoir, Nidoqueen, Licky, Girder, Vanillux, Scizor, Melodic, Manectric, and the Rotom Fan. Realistically, my brain just fried. I don't believe he's actually made any changes to his team. If he has, they were very minimal. So, this is pretty much the same team that I've played before. I went really hard on the prep for this matchup. I went incredibly hard on this. So, hopefully it pans out in my favor. But let's start things off. Simply go over some of the threats. Obviously, Dragapult and Darmanitan, both really incredibly hard hitting. Gardevoir is a threat. Scizor is a threat. Vanillux kind of messes up a lot of my team, so it's going to be something that I have to be really careful about. Especially with Veil. Melodic is such a hard wall to break through, so I'm going to have to be very, very careful with how I do that. Nidoqueen hits hard. Girder is a pain in the butt. A lot of things are going to be a problem in this match, but I'm just going to have to play the best that I can, and hopefully that will work out in my favor. First one we're bringing this week is going to be Derp the Slowbro with the Rocky Helmet Regenerator, Scald, Flamethrower, Psychic, and Teleport. 168 HP, 252 defense with a Bold Nature, 4 into SpDef, and 84 into Speed. Bold Nature is really all I needed to make this thing a great switch-in for Darm. And Scizor, even. Scizor's U-turns, we still tank those pretty well. This thing, being as bulky as it is, works really well against a lot of members of his team. The 84 in speed is actually relevant because it allows us to outpace a 0 speed investment Girder. So Girder is in fact there. We'll be able to get Psychics off on that thing before it can hit us, which I think is actually going to be very important because if it's been whittled or if it's switched in on an attack or two, we might be able to KO it with a Psychic before it can knock us off. So that's even better for us. Dual Stab plus Flamethrower works really well against this team. Chips down a lot of Mons really effectively. If I can get some Scald Burns, that's going to be really, really nice for us. Flamethrower is going to be crucial for being able to break that Scizor. Prevent that Scizor from ever being able to set up and really do anything too crazy against our team. Basically force it to always U-turn out against us as well, which is very important in my eyes. Next up, we have Deathdrop, the Drapion, Assault Vest Drapion, Battle Armor ability, no crits here, baby. Max HP, 120 attack, 136 into speed. This allows us to outpace base 80s and below, so this allows us to outpace the Gardevoir and whatnot, which I think is going to be incredibly important. Knockoff is essential in this matchup. Getting rid of the items on his team is going to be very, very important. A lot of Mons are, I can see, with choice items that are going to be very threatening. Getting rid of a potential Eviolite on Girder could be very, very useful, or any damage-reducing berries on something like Scizor, or even just like catching Melodic on a switch-in to get rid of like a Flame Orb, so it doesn't get its Marvel Scale, which would be really great. A lot of different things going on with that one that I think could be very useful. Fire Fang is just there so that I have an extra way of being able to smack that Scizor for the 4 times damage. I just think that that's going to be useful. I don't want that Scizor to ever be comfortable in this matchup. I don't want Scizor to have a moment of comfort. If it's comfortable, I'm not doing my job. Plain and simple. Earthquake allows me to smack things like the Nidoqueen and the Manectric really hard. And then I have Poison Jab, potentially get some poisons on things just for like extra stab, which I think is going to be very important for this matchup. It smacks the Gardevoir really, really hard. Us being AV allows us to kind of beat the Gardevoir 1v1 if we have to. So that's pretty cool. Next up we have Spitfire, the Mortar. I'm doing a really weird set this week. This is a weakness policy Mortar. I don't expect this Mortar to do a lot for me. 100% doubt it. However, it is activated by a couple different mods. The Melodic is the key thing here. The Melodic is a big problem for this mod. So my goal is to get this in front of something like the... trying to think what would be the best thing here. Best example. Get this in front of a Darm that might be locked into Flare Blitz. Get this in front of Scizor. Get this in front of Vanillix. And just click Flame Charge. Okay? Just click Flame Charge. And then I click Flame Charge. I hit like the Melodic on switch in. Right? Then I Thunder Punch the Melodic as it scalds me. I get my weakness policy boost. Then I can immediately start pressuring him. I can kill the Melodic with the following Thunder Punch. And then I'm faster than a lot of mons on his team, and it puts me in a positive position. I don't believe I'll be faster than Dragapult after the Scald. I don't believe I'll be faster than Dragapult at +1. I might. I get 143, so he'd have to be at 429. I think I am actually faster than him at +1, which is really nice. Won't be able to get too much damage off because it resists all my attacks, but even still. It would force him into something like Scarfed Arm, which means I can just fire off like a +2 Mach Punch, which will do stupid damage to it as well. So like, if Darm is gone, right, if Darm is gone, or if I could get Dragapult gone, or if one of them isn't there, this thing puts in a stupid amount of work against his team and completely just beat his team, which is fantastic to me. So this thing is a good set to help me break his team. I'm really hoping that I can get the chance to use it. Next up we have Spiky Burb, the Zapdos Heavy Duty Boots static ability. Not defensive though, we are going with an offensive kind of build. Enough speed to outpace things like the Darmanitan. Max special attack and then 40 into HP. Thunderbolt, extra sensory, defog, and U-turn. Extra sensory, realistically everything else gets hit by Thunderbolt, besides Manectric, which I don't see coming personally, and Nidoqueen, which does not appreciate the extra sensories at max special attack. So the goal is to kind of catch the Nidoqueen on a switch in with extra sensory, and then kind of force him into a very sketchy situation. I would probably hard switch on the immediate, mostly just due to the fact that I would be fearing the Scarf. That's kind of my thought process. I fear Scarf Nidoqueen as an example of the situation. So I hit him with an extra sensory, kind of scout, see what kind of damage he's doing, see if he might be Scarf or not. We have Defog because he's got a lot of good hazard options. Rocks and Toxic Spikes on Nidoqueen. He's got Rocks and Toxic Spikes on Nidoqueen. Okay, he doesn't really have good hazard options, but that's a good hazard setter. So having Defog, I think, is going to be really important, especially because I do not want Rocks against my team right now, especially with things like Mortar being something that's such an important breaker for the team. I definitely cannot afford to have that. And then U-turns, because I don't want to have Volt Switch as my momentum option if Nidoqueen is there. It gives me the ability to actually get out of the match when I need to. Next up, we have Lost Vein, the Aegislash, Leftovers, Stance Change ability, of course, Shadow Sneak, Shadow Ball, King Shield, and Toxic. Look at his team. What's his switch in to a Shadow Ball or Shadow Sneak? Licky Licky. That's it. Everything else gets hit neutrally by that, which is really good for us. So max special attack is what we went for. 100 speed with a Timid Nature allows us to outpace... Is that max speed Girder? Is that max speed Girder? No, this is min speed Melodic. This is 0 speed Melodic. Melodic hits 198. So basically, this thing just spams Shadow Ball. Like, obviously, I think Licky Licky has to come because this thing exists, which we have a very good way of dealing with Licky Licky very soon. So I wouldn't worry too much about Licky Licky. Shadow Ball, Shadow Sneak. Shadow Ball just hits his team really hard, and Shadow Sneak allows me to stop the momentum of something like a Gardevoir, something like a Dragapult. Even though I'm running Timid Nature, Shadow Sneak still does a decent chunk of damage because I still have a base 140 attack stat when I switch forms. So even, minus attack on that is still a very strong attack stat. But everything else is getting smacked decently hard by these Shadow Balls. This thing defensively helps us with things like the Scizor and the Vanillux as well. We have Toxic and King Shield just so I can stall some things out a little bit. Force Heal Bells on Licky Licky. Licky Licky, I believe, is his only way of removing status from his team. I don't remember if Gardevoir gets Heal Bell or not. I cannot remember, honestly, if Gardevoir gets Heal Bell. But if I can just chip his team down with Shadow Balls and Toxics and stuff, that's going to be really huge for us. Yeah, Aegislash is going to put in some work here. I'm really excited to have Aegislash here. And last but not least, the GOAT, we have the Assault-Vested, Scrappy Surfetched. Surfetched is a beast. Surfetched is a monster. Surfetched kills things. First impression, close combat, knockoff Leaf Blade. We have max attack, Adamant Nature, 132 speed, and 124 into our HP. The speed is, again, for the Milotic. And, of course, being max attack Adamant, that just kind of makes this so, what switches in? What do you switch into this Mon? Okay, do you switch in your Milotic? Right? You switch in your Milotic. Okay, you get smacked with a max attack Adamant Leaf Blade directly after eating a close combat. Do you really eat that close combat? I don't think you do. Do you switch in something that really needs its item, and then all of a sudden you lose its item? That doesn't sound like a very smart plan, now does it? And then I have the first impression, because max attack Adamant first impression does stupid damage, and is another good way of stopping something that gets a little bit out of control. Gardevoir takes a shit ton. Dragapult still takes a decent chunk. Darmanitan's frail, so it still takes a decent chunk. Basically, anything that's a little bit low, that is just getting kind of annoying, I can just come into Surfetch and just say, I click first impression, and something dies. Something just dies. This Surfetch does eat a lot of hits from his team as well, just by being Assault Vest, which is really nice. Just overall, I think has a lot of potential to do some good stuff in this match. So we're gonna try our best to make sure Surfetch shines. But yeah, with that, that's gonna end this one off. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Battle will go up tomorrow. So until then, I'm PokePrimer, signing off. Peace.